Okay. You ready? Blitzkrieg! Seriously?
What's up gamers, welcome back to the channel. What makes a game the best? Is it the story that sticks with you for a decade? Gameplay that defines a generation? Or is it a villain so iconic he basically has his own zip code in the Hall of Fame? Today we are diving into a question that's been haunting gaming forums since 2012. Is Far Cry 3 actually the best game ever made? Now I know what you're thinking. Another YouTuber claiming a 12-year-old game is the GOAT? How original. But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself reinstalling this tropical nightmare, or at least understanding why some of us never uninstalled it in the first place. And we are not just gonna fanboy out, we are putting it on a trial. We'll present the case for the defense, the case for prosecution, and then, well, I'll give you my verdict. Let's get into it. But first, smash that like button if you have ever stealth killed an entire outpost, only to be spotted by the last guy. We've all been there. Let's start with the obvious. Vaas Montenegro. This man didn't just steal every scene he was in. He straight up committed Grand Theft Auto on the entire gaming industry's idea of what a villain could be. He's not just a bad guy. He's terrifying, philosophical, and weirdly charismatic force of nature. He didn't need superpowers, he had presence. And here's the kicker. Vaas was originally supposed to be a minor character, but Mando's improvisation and charisma was so magnetic that Ubisoft rewrote the entire game around him. The man turned, doing the same thing over and over again, into a philosophical statement that's still quoted in comment sections today. If that's not cultural impact, I don't know what is. Now let's talk about Rook Island, the tropical paradise that made us all question our vacation destinations. Far Cry 3 didn't invent the open world formula, but it perfected it before Ubisoft turned it into a copy-paste template for every game they would make for the next decade. And yes, the radio towers. They were actually fun, revolutionary even. Each tower felt like a puzzle, a viewpoint, and a strategic advantage all rolled into one. And the outposts. Remember when liberating an outpost felt like planning a military operation? Rather than checking items off a grocery list. You could go in guns blazing, sneak through like a ghost, or, my personal favorite, release a tiger and watch the chaos unfold while eating popcorn from a safe distance. The hunting and crafting system actually made sense too. You want a bigger wallet? Go hunt some pigs. Need a larger ammo pouch? Time to face your fears and take down a shark with a knife. It was simple, logical, and somehow more satisfying than any battle pass progression system. Let's talk about Jason Brody's transformation, arguably one of gaming's most effective character arcs. We start with a privileged college kid who can barely hold a gun without shaking, and by the end, we have a one-man army who's probably on several international watch lists. The beauty is in how gradual this transformation feels. The game doesn't just tell you Jason is changing. You feel it through gameplay, your hands stop shaking and your aim improves, and suddenly you are the apex predator on an island full of dangerous animals and armed mercenaries. Your progression was literally etched onto your character's skin. Each skill point wasn't just a gameplay enhancement, it was a visual representation of Jason becoming something else entirely. Something darker, more primal. By the end, you're looking at this guy covered in ink and wondering if he can ever really go back to his old life. It's like watching someone's LinkedIn profile evolve from recent graduate to professional problem solver to specialized in creative conflict resolution. But here's what really made Far Cry 3 special. That gameplay loop was absolutely addictive. Just one more outpost, just one more hunt, just one more, oh, it's 3 am and I have to work tomorrow. The movement felt incredible. Hang gliding off cliffs, speeding through jungle roads in stolen jeeps, diving underwater to explore shipwrecks. The island felt alive and begged to be explored. And the fire, oh my god, the fire physics. Setting a field ablaze and watching it spread naturally while enemies fled in panic. It was like being given the powers of Ghost Rider. Alright, time for some real talk. While we are all nostalgic about Jason's transformation, we need to address the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the privileged American tourist in the indigenous tribe. Far Cry 3's narrative has been rightfully criticized for its white savior complex. Here's Jason, a college kid from California, somehow becoming the chosen one of an ancient warrior tribe within what, a few weeks? The Rakayat have been fighting Vas and his pirates for years, but apparently all they needed was one guy with a tribal tattoo and the power of American determination. The game does seem aware of this to some degree. There are hints that Jason is being manipulated and used, but it's never fully committed to that critique. Instead, we get this uncomfortable middle ground where Jason is simultaneously the hero and possibly being played, but the game never really picks a lane. Let's be honest about something else. Far Cry 3 hasn't aged like a fine wine. It's aged like, well, like a 2012 video game. The facial animation that seemed impressive back then now look like everyone's perpetually constipated or mildly confused about their surroundings. The vehicle physics also deserves a mention, and not the good kind. Driving in Far Cry 3 feels like piloting a rocket-powered shopping cart with a drinking problem. Every road is apparently made of ice, and every vehicle has the structural integrity of a house of cards in the hurricane. The pop-in is real, folks. Trees appearing out of thin air, NPCs spawning right in front of you. It's like the island has some sort of mystical cloaking device that only works when you're not looking directly at something. Remember how impressed we were by the living world? Well, turns out that the world has about 12 different people in it, and they all have very limited conversation topics. Every pirate apparently went to the same menacing villain one-liner academy, and every civilian has exactly 3 things to say before they start repeating themselves. Here's the tragic irony. Far Cry 3 was so successful that it became the blueprint for every open-world game Ubisoft would make for the next decade. And boy did they stick to that blueprint like their creative freedom depended on it. What felt fresh and exciting in 2012 became the Ubisoft open world checklist that we would see copy-pasted into Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, and yes, every subsequent Far Cry game. Towers to climb? Check. Outpost to liberate? Check. A map covered in more icons than a Windows 95 desktop? Double check. Then there's the Ubisoftness of it all. While the core loop is fun, it can get repetitive. Climb tower, clear outpost, hunt boar, repeat. What felt revolutionary in 2012 can feel a bit like a checklist in 2025. This is the game that gave us modern open world template for better and for worse. Let's also acknowledge that Far Cry 3's story has some pacing issues that would make a F1 driver dizzy. The game constantly pulls you between urgent rescue missions and hey, want to hunt some goats for leather? Nothing breaks dramatic tension quite like your friend telling you they are in mortal danger while you are busy collecting memory cards scattered around the island. It's like getting a text that says, "Help, I'm trapped," and responding with, "Sure thing, but first let me finish this Sudoku puzzle." And don't get me started on those endings. Without spoiling anything, let's just say the game gives you choices that range from morally questionable to completely unhinged. And somehow neither feels entirely satisfying. It's like ordering a meal and being asked if you want food poisoning or indigestion for dessert. So how does Far Cry 3 hold up against today's open world champions? Well, it's complicated. Games like The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2 have shown us what open world games can achieve with modern technology and design philosophy. They have given us worlds that feel truly alive, stories that adapt to player choice, and characters that feel like real people rather than quest dispensers with personality disorders. But here's the thing, Far Cry 3 still does some things better than its modern contemporaries. The pure, unadulterated fun factor is still there. While other games got caught up in being cinematic experience and artistic statements, Far Cry 3 remembered that games are supposed to be, well, fun. Let's give credit where it's due. Far Cry 3's influence on gaming cannot be overstated. The hunting and crafting system, now standard in dozens of games, the outpost liberation mechanic, copied more times than a college student's homework, the climb tower to reveal map, well, we have discussed that one. But beyond the mechanics, Far Cry 3 showed developers that players wanted agency in how they approached problems. Want to snipe from a distance? Go for it. Prefer close quarters chaos? The game supports that too. Feels like causing ecological disaster by releasing all islands predators at once? The game not only allows it but practically encourages it. Alright, moment of truth. Is Far Cry 3 the greatest game of all time? Well, that depends on how you define greatness. If we are looking pure innovation and cultural impact, Far Cry 3 absolutely deserves to be in the conversation. It defined an entire generation of open world gamers, gave us one of gaming's most memorable villains, and proved that sometimes the best way to tell a story is to let players write half of it themselves. If we are talking about technical achievement and narrative sophistication, well, let's just say Far Cry 3 was ahead of its time in 2012. But time has definitely caught up. Is Far Cry 3 the best game ever made? Probably not. The title of GOAT is too personal, too subjective. It depends on what you value most in a game. But is it a great game? Absolutely. Is it one of the most influential and memorable game of its generation? Without a doubt. It's a flawed masterpiece. Far Cry 3 is like that friend from college who was absolutely wild and showed you how to have a time of your life. But looking back, you realize they were also kind of problematic and maybe needed some therapy. It may not be the king, but it deserves a permanent seat at the table. So here's my challenge for you. Let me know in the comment what you think. Is Far Cry 3 a timeless classic or a relic of its time? What's your personal GOAT and why? And if you have somehow never played Far Cry 3, maybe give it a shot. Just remember to set your expectations somewhere between a revolutionary masterpiece and really fun game with some dated elements and questionable story choices. Thanks for watching, and remember, the definition of insanity is making gaming videos and expecting different results. But hey, at least we are all insane together. Don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that notification bell, because apparently that's how we measure success now. Until next time, keep gaming and try not to get malaria. Game on.